I can teach you to walk, talk, sit, stand, eat, dress like a princess.
Hello everybody, what's up? Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome. My name is Victoria Rose. I'm a 26-year-old woman of transgender experience, and here on this channel, baby, I make all kinds of gender-affirming content. We've got workbooks, we've got femininity boot camp, we got some funny, silly, goofy content sprinkled in. So if that sounds like fun to you, make sure you subscribe down below so that you can join the family and never miss out on a new upload. Today we're going to be talking about something that a lot of you have been asking me, and that is how to develop a feminine walk and a feminine posture. When you transition, there's more than just the physical that goes into it. You also have to learn a whole new way of moving and a whole new way of speaking. If you were raised as a male, you were pretty much socialized, whether you, I was always, but even then, I had been taught to walk one way or to sit one way or to speak one way. And when I transitioned, of course, my body changed, but I had to put in the work to change the other surrounding elements. And it's one of those things where there's not a lot of content out there about it, but it's one of the free things that you can do to advance your transition and to make yourself feel more comfortable and more passable if that's important to you.
It's free, it's for me.
I love getting questions like this. I love when you guys tell me in the comments down below what it is that you really want to know from me, because when I was younger, not even just younger, but earlier in my transition, I was really searching out content for any kind of like morsel of trans information or resources. That's why I made this channel. It's also why I really love Transgender Zone and GTAP if you're unfamiliar. Transgender Zone is sort of one of the OG trans forums where a lot of trans folks would go to discuss surgeries, hormones, social things, meet other trans people. It was kind of outdated and it's gone through an entire revamp and it's super exciting. There's this whole community that we're building. T-Zone stands for Transgender Zone and GTAP is the Gender Transition Assistance Program. And through this network, you are connected to so many forums, so many folks that you can meet and interact with that are going through the same things as you, resources that are available to you, maybe even discounts, who knows. If you like stuff like that, if you want to be in a community, if you want to be involved with people, if you want to learn things and have reliable information and not have to scour the internet for it, Transgender Zone and the Gender Transition Assistance Program is what you need, girl. I'm not sure exactly when this video is going to go up, but whenever you're watching it, go ahead and click in the description if this sounds interesting to you, and you will find either the waiting list or the domain itself for when it is fully released. Y'all, I literally cannot tell you how excited I am for this. I'm gonna be doing like live streams on there and stuff. It's gonna be really exciting, so make sure you check it out. Anyway, let's talk about how to establish a feminine posture and a feminine walk. Okay, before we get into the tips, we have to talk about why it is important to have a feminine posture, a feminine walk. Expressing your femininity in a physical way, and not just aesthetic, but a physical way, the way that you move, the way that you interact with the world, is an important part of your transition. If you are trans feminine anyway, then the whole transition itself is all about feminizing, and that encompasses all of your life. So for me, I genuinely, I'm very binary myself, and so I wanted to make sure that everything was totally coherent with me, that I was as feminine and as natural as possible. You know what I mean? We all have different opinions anyway, but for me, expressing my femininity in a physical way is so important, and not just physical like looks, but the way that you interact with the world, the way that you pick things up, the way that you walk around, the way that you hold yourself. There is a distinctly masculine and feminine way that some people hold themselves, and I actually really learned this through acting class in high school when I was a drama kid, which I know is a shocker that I was in drama. I'll get into that story a little bit later, but here are a few tips that have helped me establish a feminine posture and a feminine walk. Imagine a string pulling you up from the top of your head, almost like you're a doll or a little ballerina. This will help you elongate your spine and it'll improve your posture. Keep your shoulders back and down, not hunched forward. This simple adjustment can make a huge improvement. Do you see that difference there? It really makes a big difference. This will also help give you the illusion of slimmer shoulders, which I know is important for a lot of trans girls, myself included. A strong core helps to maintain your posture and balance. You don't have to clench your abs, but keeping them slightly engaged is going to really support your spine. So let's move on to walking. Here's where I get into the drama kid story. Okay, so I remember I was playing a boy. I was Ron Weasley in a Harry Potter musical. We don't have to talk about it. We don't have to talk about it. Listen, okay. This was my freshman year of high school. This is like right before I transitioned. It was the fall show. Anyway, I had to read a straight, and obviously that kind of was a struggle for me. And the drama director, who, bless her heart, I love her so much, we called her mom, but she pulled me over, like pulled me aside, and she was like, okay, you need to learn to like walk a little bit more masculine. And I think we can apply these tips in reverse to walk more feminine. So She told me I was walking on the balls of my feet more. Like I'm a pretty bouncy person, and I used to, when I was younger, walk my tippy toes a lot, which I know. Anyway, but I've always been a pretty bouncy person, and I kept a lot of energy in my feet and like the soles of my feet. And I was a little light on my feet. So she told me to focus my energy a little more, this sounds crazy, but a little more in like my stomach or like my crotch, because a lot of straight guys like tend to kind of lead with that. In a way, not like forward, obviously, that's a little crazy, but like, so if you find yourself sort of slouching or putting a lot of energy in the midsection of your body, try to shift that energy to maybe even your head or your toes and see how you feel, and be a little bit more bouncy, a little bit more light on your feet. Also, I want to say, I don't know why the lights are making my face look so light in comparison to my body. It's just, I don't know. Anyway, as you move, walk with a slight sway in your hips. Don't overdo it, because that can be a little clocky, girl, diva. And I think we all have some moments sometimes of a little over exaggerated, because you're kind of getting used to it. So that's okay if you do, you know what I mean? Like, everyone goes through that, and don't beat yourself up if you feel like maybe, oh my God, I used to walk like so crazy. Listen, it's a work in progress. You're a beautiful little cocoon. So to do this, place one foot in front of the other like you're walking an invisible line. This will naturally cause your hips to sway a little bit. Again, don't overdo it. Something that will really help you maintain balance and grace is to take smaller, more controlled steps. This is with or without heels. Pay attention to how your feet land on the ground. You want to aim for a more soft and delicate step rather than a stomp. Men are a little bit more heavy on their feet, rather than women who, like I said, are maybe a little bit more on their toes, a little bit light-footed, a little bit light on their feet. This is whether you're walking in a house, whether you're walking up the stairs, whether you're walking in the grass. I mean, obviously, do what you gotta do, but so by taking these smaller steps, you're able to really control how you're walking, and eventually it'll become like second nature to you. Paying attention to how you hold yourself is a pretty feminine, stereotypically feminine thing. You also want to make sure that you are swinging your arms gently as you walk. It kind of reminds me of that episode of Seinfeld, I don't know if you guys know, but the one with Raquel Welch, where she's like not moving her arms when she tap dances, and then she gets in a fight with Elaine.
Now what are you doing?
Nothing, I just wasn't moving my arms. That's it. You're going down.
Your arms should swing gently as you walk, nothing too crazy, but you really want to avoid anything too stiff or robotic.
How's this? This.
Think about being fluid and graceful. Something that I think about a lot in any sort of, whether it's walking or sitting or lying down, anything, is women tend to be, yes, controlled and, you know, good posture, but move with such a fluidity. You know, that feminine women are controlled, take smaller controlled steps, and maybe have that pulled up posture and engaged core, but all the while are also very relaxed and fluid. They're not sitting there very stiff and hard. They want to be soft and fluid and relaxed. And if you're not relaxed doing all of these things, fake it till you make it. It becomes second nature. Now let's talk about sitting. When you're sitting, try to keep your back straight and your shoulders back. You can cross your legs at the knees or at the ankles for a more feminine look. Did anyone else grow up being told not to cross their legs? I remember I used to cross my legs. I was a little diva as a little kid, obviously, and I had my legs crossed, and they'd always be like, uncross your leg, girls sit like that. And I'd be like, what of it? What of it? I was holding the cord, rained down on me. Anyway, if actually crossing your legs over like that isn't comfortable though, you can cross your ankles. You can place your feet close together and angle your knees slightly to one side. This kind of makes you think of Princess Diaries, where she's telling you how to walk, talk, sit, stand, eat, dress like a princess.
Tuck one ankle behind the other and place the hands gracefully on the knees.
So we don't slump like this. And finally, I want to talk about walking in heels. If you want a whole separate video about heels and like learning about all the different kinds of heels and walking in heels and whatever, I can make a video about that. I'm not a huge heel girly because I'm 5'9". I know that's not like crazy tall, but my husband is 6 foot, like I think like 6 foot 6'1". But I've gotten over that insecurity. He loves me in heels. I'm also not that much taller than him. He's 6 foot anyway. So learning how to walk in heels definitely takes some practice. Now, I know a lot of us maybe grew up walking in our mama's heels or had our own little heels stashed away. So maybe you're an expert, maybe you're a pro. But if you're not, heels can be tricky. And my first suggestion is to start small. You can start with a little kitten heel, start with a little mule or something, a little wedge. Something that has a wider bottom. Starting out with something really spiky and tall. If you have a very small, teeny little heel, to step on, that's going to be harder to walk in inevitably, like it's just going to be. Whereas if you're wearing something more like this or this, it might be a little bit more comfortable to walk in. I know people hate on kitten heels, but I love kitten heels, bitch. I love kitten heels. I hate like little teeny, like the kitten heels that have the spiky bottom. I don't like that really, but I love a kitten heel that's more of like a mule or like a little flat bottom, you know what I'm saying? Like this. Lower heels are easier to manage and they'll build your confidence. When walking in heels, take smaller steps and go heel to toe. Make sure you are not taking steps that are like this and a little more harsh. You want to walk heel to toe. You want to kind of think of the heel as an extension of your body. You want to kind of think of the bottom of the heel as your foot. So yeah, take smaller steps and walk heel to toe. This will really help your walk to look more natural and help you gain confidence. Next, you want to make sure that you practice on all kinds of surfaces. Walking on a carpet is different from walking on tile, which is different from walking on grass, which is different from walking on cobblestone. Like it's going to be different, so make sure that you take into account wherever you're going. This also means that you have to learn what type of shoe is appropriate for when, and maybe I'll get into that in a different video, like a fashion one. But make sure you're practicing walking. Now, at some point in your life, you'll probably have to walk on grass in heels. If you don't have to do that, congratulations to you. That is fantastic, and you never should have to do that because it's horrible. But if you do, you want to walk a little bit more on your tippies. High heels on, don't get on this. But if you're walking on grass, the heel's going to sink into the dirt, and that's never fun. It can break your heel, it can make it get all dirty, and it's also just makes you look like an idiot. So tiptoe around in your heels if you're in that situation. It takes some practice, but wear them around your house all the time. If you're doing chores, if you're doing the laundry, make sure you're wearing heels and breaking them in. Also, just practicing how you walk, because going out in heels when you never wear heels, it's pretty easy to spot someone that isn't used to it because they're kind of walking like a baby giraffe, and that's okay, but you really want to try and practice as much as you can before going out into the world, especially if you're worried about like sticking out or fitting in kind of thing as a woman. Like for me, for example, I'm 26, and if I didn't know how to walk in heels, it might be like, has she never walked in heels? Like if I just transitioned, and you know what I mean? Like, so I could see how you'd want to practice a lot at home first. Anyway, so that's how you walk in heels. So if you're looking to establish a feminine posture, a feminine walk, if you're looking to improve your skills in walking in heels, all of this comes down to practice, practice, practice. Get a mirror, get like a floor length mirror and see how you're sitting, how you're walking, how you're standing. You want to practice walking in heels, wear it around everywhere you go until you get good at it. It's easy to feel overwhelmed when you're looking at all of the things in front of you in your transition, whether it's physical transition, whether it's mental, social, all these things. It's a lot. But remember, there's no rush in your transition. You have the rest of your life to become the woman that you are. You're always gonna be a woman, baby. You're always gonna be a woman. It's important that you give yourself grace to understand that it's a transition for a reason. I mean, that's why a lot of the girls that have been in the game, like transitioned for a long time, have the credit that they do. I'm younger in the grand scheme of things. I've been transitioned for over 10 years now, oh my gosh. And eventually you will also have that experience under your belt, and you'll look back and be like, wow, I've come so far. I look back at who I was a year, 2 years, 3 years into my transition, and I've just come so far, and I'm so proud of myself, and you should be proud of yourself too. Remember, everybody's different, everybody's body is different. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to have a perfect posture for a perfect walk all the time, because nobody's perfect. Some women do slouch, and some women do, you know, have a heavier foot and whatever, and that's fine. It doesn't make them any less of a woman, and that applies to you too. So don't feel like it has to be perfect, but take what resonates with you and leave the rest. Remember, confidence is the most important part in your transition. Okay, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope you got something out of these tips. If you did, please make sure you give it a big thumbs up. It really helps out my channel. And comment down below any of your tips in walking in heels or establishing a feminine posture, a feminine walk. And maybe share an anecdote about your childhood. Like for me, being told like, uncross your legs, and I was like, what diva? What diva, huh? Again, make sure you check out Transgender Zone and the Gender Transition Assistance Program linked down below. Either sign up for the waiting list, or if it's already released, maybe go ahead and click down below and check it out. You are all amazing. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. And until I see you next week or next month, good luck. I love you. Bye.